Welcome to KFUG Community Radio, 101.1 FM and streaming online at kfugradio.org. You've tuned into News Now, a co-production of KFUG Community Radio and Wild Rivers Outpost. We're going to tell you about some local news now. For KFUG Community News, I'm Persephone Corvid-Rose, and I'm joined by Avi Kritz and Braden Hatch, who have pre-recorded their lines because we're practicing social distancing, as should you. This newscast, as we're sure you would expect, we will be focusing on our community's response to the global pandemic of COVID-19.
This past Monday, a briefing was streamed from the Flynn Center concerning Del Norte County and Crescent City's efforts to address the COVID-19 situation locally. The briefing was opened by Mayor Blake Inscore, who spoke about the current situation. There are currently no confirmed cases of the COVID-19 virus in Del Norte County. As of this past Tuesday, 37 tests were administered to local individuals, with 31 tests returning negative and the 6 other tests still pending. Inscore introduced other officials who could speak to the crisis from the perspective of the city, county, and school district. Jerry Hemmingson, chair of the County Board of Supervisors, spoke about the federal economic stimulus bill that is designed to offer $1.8 trillion to support businesses affected by the COVID-19 crisis.
The proposed $1.8 trillion bill is expected to fund the rescue of eligible businesses, dollars to immediately assist affected individuals, money to retain workers, including payroll loans and funding for hospitals, unemployment insurance, and the aviation industry. It is still to be seen what all will be included in the stimulus bill, and we will report out additional information as it becomes available.
In addition, the local Emergency Operations Center has created an economic resiliency branch that will assist local businesses by providing information, gathering data, and sharing resources so they are better equipped to handle this crisis. City Manager Eric Weir spoke about how this branch will operate and how local business owners can get involved.
So we've set up what's called a listserv, and this is basically a subscription that you sign up to, and what it will give you is it will give you updates in regard to whatever is going on. So you see it there on the screen. It's biz-subscribe at list.crescentcity.org. You can find that on the city's website. And what this will do is this will create this environment where businesses can be kept up to date on what is currently available to them. The businesses in our community, over 900 businesses, will also be contacted during this next week. They'll be contacted by employees of the Chamber of Commerce, the City of Crescent City, or the county, who are all working uniformly in this to try to reach out to our businesses, as we know they are going through a time that none of us have ever faced before.
Local businesses can join this listserv and gain more information about what is available to them, as well as help collect data for the state to understand how businesses are dealing with this pandemic. The Del Norte Unified School District is also dealing with the closure of all school sites and what that means for students' access to education materials and food. As Superintendent Jeff Harris noted, many classified staff, teachers, and volunteers have helped to lessen this load.
And in the last 6 days, I just want to give you one piece of what has happened that we're extremely proud of. For those of you who know our nutrition services departments and our transportation department, they have banded together along with volunteers from our staff, with teachers, with volunteer classified employees, with folks from the community. And in the last 6 days, they have delivered over 19,300 meals to youth between the ages of birth and 18 in our community. They've also put together all of our staff combined has put together over 15,000 pages of work for our students. We are committed to moving forward in a way that helps our students learn, that supports our families, and then ultimately, as we come out the other side of this, that we can look and be proud of the progress that we've made, and we can look to our families, look to our partners in all of this, because I have to tell you, we have some of the best teachers, we have some of the best classified employees, we have some of the best administrators in the state, and we've got some incredible families, some incredible supports that you've heard from today and will continue to hear from.
Jeff Harris also spoke about how teachers have transitioned to teaching remotely, as well as the school district's plans for making sure each child has access to these remote lessons.
However, our staff is learning more about distance learning. So this week you're going to see them engage in online professional development, online learning communities. Next week we'll see a packet of work, plus we'll see some kind of this blended online versus paper pencil thing that goes on. The following week, we really hope to have together a plan for disseminating Chromebooks to get computers out to families so that students can access online learning platforms. We should have fully online learning lesson plans available within 2 to 3 weeks, and then you and your children will have an opportunity of either taking a hard copy, a blended copy, or a fully online program.
For parents and other community members looking for information on the situation, the district will be providing a series of webinars put together by teachers, administrators, and other school staff that will provide resources and learning opportunities. In addition, the upcoming March 26th school board meeting will be held remotely for the first time, Harris said. The board meeting can be viewed this Thursday at 3:30 p.m. on the DNCOE-IT YouTube channel. Local law enforcement is also taking various precautions to ensure that they will remain up and running during this crisis. Sheriff Eric Apperson said that while his communications team is isolated, the team, including dispatchers, will still be taking calls. While there has been some concern from the community, Sheriff Apperson's deputies and Crescent City Police Chief Richard Griffin's officers will still be responding to 911 and non-emergency calls.
Those dispatchers are also asking screening questions related to the current pandemic, but I want to be clear when I say that we're still responding. We've gotten some feedback on that, and we're simply asking those questions so we can better prepare our first responders for that response. But if you call, we're going to be there.
Mayor Blake Inscore closed the news conference with the assurance that he would update the community on the COVID-19 situation regularly, and in the meantime, directed viewers to the public health page of the county website, as well as preparedelnorte.com for resources and information. For KFUG Community News, I'm Avi Kritz.
Since the Del Norte Unified School District has placed schools under closure amidst these days of distancing from COVID-19, some of you may be a bit confused to see school buses still quite active throughout the mornings. While these buses aren't being used to pick up students, they're still being used to help them in these confusing times. Thursday morning, March 19th, I had the interesting experience of tagging along with Wild Rivers Outpost Crescent City Bureau Chief Jessica Saynar for a school bus ride-along in the midst of their recently established meal delivery program. You can find our incredibly well-written article about the experience at wildriversoutpost.lostcoastoutpost.com. We rode Bus 22, driven by Reese Trim. Starting only last week after the closure of schools, the buses have been used to deliver meals, breakfast and lunch, to youth all across Del Norte County. On the first day, Reese Trim, who keeps track of how many kids are receiving food, said that her route delivered meals to 162 kids. The next day, 111. The day after, 146. And, on our ride-along alone in the span of roughly 2 hours from just one bus, Bus 22's team delivered meals to 186 students, totaling at 372 meals. In even more positive updates, over 19,000 meals have been delivered in total in this past week alone. Paige Swan, Crescent Elk Middle School's principal, also joined us for this ride with the specific goal to hand out enrichment worksheets to students. These would help keep students occupied in an educational manner so that the closure of schools did not impact their progress too heavily. As this process goes on, changes are being made further and further to encourage the use of this program and assist in making it more accessible. DNUSD Transportation Director Derek Campbell spoke to us about an app called Here Comes the Bus that would allow parents to track the progress of the buses on their routes in order to ensure added safety and convenience. Our station manager Paul Kritz arranged an interview with Crystal Helton, a parent who had seen the positive impact of this program firsthand.
Yes, well, we decided not to get lunches just because we have enough, and we want to make sure everybody has enough. But they've been dropping lunches off in the Glen, the normal bus route, breakfast and lunches every day. But on Friday, last Thursday, we received a message from all of our teachers, like that they were going to be. Some of the teachers were going to be on the bus, and they were going to be handing out packets, enrichment packets. So we went down to the bus stop, and we got to see two of our teachers, our principal, the bus driver, and then I don't know who the other gentleman was from. I'm assuming he was from the district office, but he also could have been from the Department of Health and Human Services. But so they pulled up, and there was a group of us there waiting for them to get packets.
And what's in the packets?
Well, it's pretty individualized. Some of it's enrichment, but a lot of it's academic. I have a 5th grader, a 4th grader, and a TKer. So it varies, but a lot of it has to do with where they are, and then just helping them maintain, for example, adding and subtracting fractions or long division that my 4th grader is working on. And then my 5th grader, he got some other individualized stuff too, basically a lot of math and grammar. But so the older kids, it's more academic. I wouldn't say Pete's, my youngest one, is an academic, but it's, age-appropriate stuff that he's been working on. Yeah.
Do you think the kids get your kids, or all kids, I guess, maybe get I don't know, some sort of reassurance from at least seeing the school bus and the teachers?
Yeah, it was really nice to see our teachers. My kids miss school a lot. My TKer doesn't really understand. He still asks, are we going to school tomorrow, Mom? So he doesn't, even though I've tried a few times to explain to him how many days we're going to be at home together, he doesn't get it. And they miss their friends, but they really miss their teachers. So it was really great to see my fourth grader got to see his teacher, my TKer got to see his teacher, and then we got to see the principal. And it was really nice of them to come around and say hi to the kids and show the kids that everything's okay, that they're okay, and that they care about us.
A video has been created from Redwood Voice about the aforementioned school bus ride-along, which you can view on the Redwood Voice YouTube channel.
Del Norte County businesses are in an uphill battle to stay afloat as statewide restrictions limit the number of businesses that are open to the public due to the COVID-19 outbreak. KFUG Community News spoke with former Chamber of Commerce President Melody Mitchell to discuss the ramifications and challenges local businesses currently face, as well as what the Chamber is doing to help alleviate the situation.
Well, one of the things that we're seeing are small businesses are calling, emailing, texting, and any way that they can communicate to find out, first and foremost, making sure that everybody's getting all of the same information on whether or not they're considered an essential. Essential businesses are allowed to stay open. However, if you're not essential, then you are having to close. And if you are essential and you are a restaurant or a bar, then you are having to get creative, because now you can offer your restaurant up as a to-go. So businesses of all across the nature are calling and texting and emailing, wanting to know, what the guidelines are. Are they able to stay open? There was a small business in town that offered a couple of unique. They offered a couple of unique opportunities out of their business and wanted to know if they were considered an essential. It's not a question that we could answer. So then we turn it over to, of course, our public health, Warren Raywald, who is really the person that's giving us good information on what is considered essential or not. Turns out that business could not operate. It was not considered an essential. So it's questions like that are being posed to the chamber. And so, making sure that we're getting out the correct, right, and true information to those small businesses is really, really of the utmost importance right now.
Okay, Melody. I was wondering how many businesses are within Del Norte?
An estimated about 350 in Del Norte County. And that's small business, large business, corporation, all of that included.
Okay. Do you know how many are currently closed due to the pandemic?
I do not.
You do not?
I do not. I do believe that information changes pretty rapidly. I honestly think, Braden, that Cindy or even city or county, someone from that capacity would be able to answer that correctly. I don't want to give you wrong information.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Paul.
Have you seen any businesses asking about how to get in touch with some of the federal and state help that's out there, or it coming down the pipeline, as far as covering payrolls and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. And I do know that is one of the Chamber's top priorities, is to get that information out to businesses. As we see that change from the federal level to the state level to the local levels, we are getting that information out as quickly as possible. Right now, we are a virtual world with this social distancing happening, and what we're trying to encourage businesses to make sure that they're using the internet and using our websites and places like that are going to give them accurate information. So yes, we have seen an increase from our social media as well as our emailing and still calling the executive director who is able to work remotely from home just to get them out, just get that information out.
Do you have like just an easy place you can send folks, whether they're chamber members or not, to get information about programs and help available to businesses?
So we are directing, depending if you are a county or a business, we're directing you to our local government websites, as well as Office of Emergency Services, Department of Health and Human Services. But for the business community, they really can log on to the chamber website. And all of those links are right there. So for the Chamber of Commerce, one of the ways that small businesses can get the chamber their information, there is an economic inquiry survey. So there is right now there is an economic injury survey that is going out to all of the businesses, and they can contact the Chamber of Commerce. They can also contact Hollywent through the city and fill out this survey. And the survey is very specific to business owners, loss of wages, and all of those restrictions and guidelines that they're having to adhere to and how it has affected their small business. So that's an important survey, and I know that is going to go out to the business community via the Chamber of Commerce as well as the city.
The Del Norte County Chamber of Commerce sent out a recent newsletter stating that local businesses are now eligible for the Economic Injury Disaster Relief Loan Program. The program is offered through the Federal Small Business Administration and provides low interest rate loans to small businesses and nonprofits and can be used to pay fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills that can't be paid because of the pandemic's impact. The Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program offers a maximum loan size of $2 million, a low interest rate loan with a current interest rate of 3.75%, a maximum loan term of 30 years, as well as loans under $25,000 do not require collateral. You can apply for the loan at the Small Business Administration's website at disasterloan.sba.gov/ELA. If you need assistance with the application process or other business resources, you may also visit the Small Business Development's website for the North Coast at www.northcoastbdc.org/COVID-19.
And now, a press release from the Tolowa Dene Nation. The Tolowa Dene Nation is working creatively to ensure tribal citizens continue to have access to government services during the global COVID-19 crisis. Temporary business hours will be instituted for the next 2 weeks, and all tribal buildings have been closed to the public as a precautionary measure. Services are available by phone and email from Monday through Thursday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Service providers can be reached by phone at 707-487-9255. Service providers' email addresses can be found at talwa-nsn.gov. Crisis services for victims of domestic violence will remain accessible 24 hours a day, every day of the week. The 2-week time frame is reflective of California Governor Gavin Newsom's stay-in-place order and will be reevaluated at a later date to determine the most prudent course of action. Despite the challenges posed by the fast-spreading disease, the tribal government is functioning near its full capacity. The nation has activated its Incident Command Team, which is working under a detailed emergency operations plan. The FEMA-approved plan serves as the foundation of the nation's multi-pronged effort to anticipate and overcome any adverse local issues that may arise as a result of the worldwide crisis. At present, there have been no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the local area. The nation has postponed all large social events, including the annual tribal membership meeting. For the purpose of preventing a large number of people from gathering in close proximity, a scaled-down version of the yearly meeting is happening on Saturday, April 4th. Additionally, the in-classroom component of the Hawanakit Head Start is suspended until April 10th. For the duration of the crisis, the Incident Command Team will provide regular updates to tribal citizens and the general public via social media, the website, and a phone service called One Call Now. For additional information about tribal services, please call 707-487-9255.
KFUG Community News spoke with Mike Justice of Our Daily Bread Ministries yesterday to get the latest on how COVID-19 has impacted the operation of the only homeless shelter in Del Norte County.
Currently, our rescue mission is shut down. Our rescue mission does not have enough space to do the 6-foot spacing. So we were unable to keep the shelter going, which is really horrible for tonight and tomorrow through this last little leg of the storm. We're still feeding 5 days a week. Dinner's schedule has changed a bit, as you might expect. We're to-goes only. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, our feeding schedule is 5:30 p.m. to 6. We pass out meals at the front door in to-go containers, full-on meals. And Thursday breakfast at 8 to 8:30, and Sunday breakfast is a new thing that we just started. There's absolutely nothing for services on the weekends here. And so we're going to be doing the Sunday morning breakfast from 8. It's normal schedule will be 8 to 9, but it's 8 to 8:30. We're passing out food at the door again. Once again, we can't have no in-house dining.
We asked Mike Justice if Our Daily Bread Ministries had experienced any issues with its food supply.
Needless to say, our food supplies coming into the ministry right now are pretty much hampered. I usually get 4 or 5 shopping carts on Wednesday from Safeway. Last Wednesday, I picked up 1 cake and 3 packages of Twinkies.
Oh, wow.
Normally 4 shopping cart loads.
Is that having, I mean, yeah, I know that you've got a lot of capacity there and you've got a lot of food, but is that, how soon before that has a real impact on your ability to provide food?
Well, actually, all of our freezers are completely full, so we have enough to operate for a year.
Wow.
The other staples will probably have about 6 months as far as, the different staples, the canned food and all that stuff, probably 6 months or so. And then our freezer food, we have about 6 months worth of feeding that we can do if nothing came in.
Wow.
And then we would go to beans and rice like we did in 08. And I think then we had about 1,500 pounds of rice and about 2,000 pounds of beans. And I think we have about 3,500 pounds of rice and probably 3,000 pounds of beans. So we will continue feeding. Quality of food may diminish a little bit.
While Our Daily Bread is able to feed as many as 40 people at a time in its current takeout capacity, there are other organizations in Del Norte that count on Mike's leftovers to meet their needs. We asked him if he would be able to continue supporting these other organizations.
Definitely change is happening. And I'm thinking that a little bit later on down the line, our food sources should come in. But so far, we're not giving out to like what we used to with our overages. We would do deliveries to the senior apartments, the surf apartments, and we did do some food out to some people that were at the motel through the mental health program. They don't have any food, so I did some food deliveries to them yesterday. But pretty much we're just holding on to what we have. Hopefully, I'll know in the next few weeks if donations continue to get skimpy. If not, and they pick up, then we'll go back to our normal delivery to those other organizations because we like to make sure that we pass it out so that it doesn't go bad on us.
Right.
Ultimately, we would end up throwing it away if it does. So.
Do you have any sense of since you're not sharing the overages that you have with places like the senior center and the surf or the senior apartments and surf apartments and stuff, any downstream like hardships that they might be? I mean, how much did they count on your extra food?
They took every bit that I ever took over there. That was the obvious need there. We were also passing out to Pacific Pantry, and they've actually increased their giving.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's 3 days a week this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It may even be more than that. And from what I understand, they're giving out a lot of good groceries too. So they must have had a couple windfalls. I actually sent them about 1,200 pounds of food a month ago because they were totally struggling. And that's what we like to do before, we like to share what we get with other organizations. So, but it sounds like she got a little windfall and got some groceries and she's able to step up her mission. So we have signs that say go to Pacific Pantry on the dates and times on our door, and we're encouraging people to do that.
So I know we're all busy taking care of ourselves and our loved ones and such, but what can people do to assist our daily bread in these times?
You can always go online. Financially is a scary time for everybody, as you might understand. And, the bills continue to go no matter what. So far, we've actually received a few new monthly givers. Nothing huge, but consistency is good. And so far, we're okay. But in these times, like in the Great Depression, the food banks and all the other organizations, churches and stuff actually flourished during that time because people really realized that they weren't too far away from needing a free meal themselves.
To help our daily bread, call 707-464-7771, check out the Facebook page, or go to r-daily-bread-ministries-ca-1.hub.biz.
And now a press release from the Yurok tribe. Effective immediately, all Yurok tribal lands, parks, preserves, beaches, and boat launches, including all camping and overnight stays, are closed to non-residents. By eliminating additional visitors, we are limiting the exposure to our tribal members and community. This decision has been made due to the recent recommendations by the CED, Yurok Office of Emergency Services, and other government agencies in a continued effort to slow the current COVID-19 pandemic. The health and welfare of our tribal members, residents, and employees are our number one priority, and we feel it best for the community to remain closed until further notice. There have been an influx of travelers and visitors during the COVID-19 pandemics, and YOES determined that it was creating a public health risk in our community. The Yurok tribe is encouraging the community to stay local, practice social distancing, and limit essential purchases to once a week. The closures comply with the Yurok tribe's emergency declaration issued March 13th. For community health and safety, please respect the closures and stay home whenever possible. We apologize for any inconvenience, and we will notify the public with any updates on a tentative reopen date. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact Serene Hayden, Incident Commander, at 707-339-9774 or at shayden@yuroktribe.nsn.us. The leadership and dedicated staff are tireless in their efforts to mitigate a very difficult situation.
Though the schools may be closed, Del Norte County Unified School District staff have been hard at work delivering services and resources to the parents and students of Del Norte. Superintendent Jeff Harris released a message to the community on Friday explaining what DNUSD is undertaking.
Hello. For those of you that I haven't had a chance to meet in person, my name is Jeff Harris, and I am the County and District Superintendent of Schools. I wanted to let you know that as we move into this unprecedented time together, we are coming up with more creative ways of reaching out, of helping you understand what's going on within our schools and within our community, and giving you an opportunity to ask us questions that can be asked in real time. In the very near future, we will be holding weekly webinars to provide information, to lead conversations with community leaders around what can you expect for your families and your children and how we can further support you. We'll also have interactive opportunities for you to call in, basically a call-in radio show, to ask questions that you have and to answer those questions to the best of our ability, understanding that the entire situation that we're in at this point is very fluid and changes from day to day, if not hour to hour. I would also like you to know that we are looking out for what's best for our students as we move through these difficult days. I want to tell you, I'm very, very proud of our staff. We've been hearing about some creative lessons that will be coming your way that are presented on paper, that will be presented in a blended format, and that will be presented completely online. We're going to be stair-stepping those rollouts over the next few weeks and expect to see some extremely, extremely innovative new ways of learning. Also, our nutrition services, transportation services, and office staff have done an incredible job of ensuring that meals are delivered, that work packets are coming out. Today was the first day for work packets to be out, and you'll see more work coming out in the next week or so. And they've all been working very closely together. The work packets this week, 15,000 pages were produced to ensure that all of our students had access to work. Our counselors met and they put together care packages that went out for our homeless students on the buses today as part of our home delivery program. We have an incredible technology department. They're the ones putting together our virtual board meeting that will be coming up this Thursday. They're the ones who are putting out the webinars that are allowing distance learning, distance communication to the level that we've never seen before. And really, we also have a lot of volunteers. We have people who are coming to us and saying, how can we help? And our community is coming together in ways that I think many of us haven't seen in decades. And we're very, very, very proud. Proud not only of our employees, proud of our students, proud of our families, proud of our community members, but we're just proud of Del Norte in general for all of the support, all of the work, all of the patience that people have had through this process.
The Nutrition Services and Transportation Departments at DNUSD have been providing lunch and next day breakfast on a modified bus schedule at established bus stops. According to a district press release Friday, the curbside meal program has served over 19,000 meals to children in Del Norte so far. Lunch and next day breakfasts are available at each school site from 11 a.m. to 12 noon throughout the duration of the school closure. As of Tuesday, March 24th, the school district will no longer be offering curbside meal service at Del Norte High School, but the service will be available at any of the nearby surrounding school sites. These opportunities are available to all children 0 to 18 years of age, and your child need not be present at the bus stop or school for lunch and next day breakfast pickup. Families picking up food for several children should consider bringing a grocery bag to carry the lunch and breakfast bags. Bus drivers will have copies of the modified bus schedules for families, as well as the information will be posted on the district's website. If you have any questions, please call Nutrition Services at 707-464-0246. If you do not see your regular bus stop on the route, please contact Transportation Services at 707-464-0250. DNUSD staff have also been hard at work preparing and delivering work packets for students K through 8. The work packets are available at designated bus stop meal sites or at your child's school site from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. DNUSD also has a list of additional educational resources available at www.dnusd.org/page/1107. Lastly, the district will hold a live virtual school board meeting this Thursday at 4:30 p.m., as well as hold weekly webinars to help inform the public and to answer community questions, though a set date and time for the webinars are still being determined, according to DNUSD Communications Director Michael Hawkins. You can view both of these events on the district's webpage, dnusd.org, and their Facebook. You can also get quick updates from the district through their mobile app, DNUSD, or on their website under the COVID-19 tab.
Del Norte County's electricity provider announced that it will suspend issuing late fees or disconnecting service for non-payment during the COVID-19 pandemic. From a Pacific Power press release, in the support of the stay-at-home directive ordered by the state of California, Pacific Power will reconsider non-essential system upgrades that require planned outages to maintain reliable power to all customers during the COVID-19 public health emergency. The company will also continue to suspend late payment fees and disconnections for non-payment, as previously announced. Under Governor Gavin Newsom's order issued Thursday, March 19, 2020, utility company employees, along with other essential workers, are exempted from the stay-at-home order while performing job duties. Employees have been informed of this and will carry their ID badges at all times. In most cases, they will be in company-branded vehicles and wearing company safety gear. If you have questions about your electric service or your account, call us 24/7 at 888-221-7070.
One concern many local residents are dealing with is childcare. With Del Norte schools closed for the foreseeable future and parents' employment status is in flux, many families are scrambling to find safe childcare. KFUG Community News contacted Melody Mitchell, Executive Director of the Del Norte County Child Care Council, to get a handle on the issues families are facing and some of the creative solutions the Child Care Council is offering.
We saw overnight, an increase in enrollment in our family daycare because of the closure of the school district. So there was, pandemonium right out from the gate. We all got the news on Sunday, March 16th that March 15th, that the schools were closing. And literally that day, staff support and myself showed up on Sunday and immediately began calling family child care providers to find out how many openings there were, how many slots were available, how many trust line providers there were that did not have any children in their care, so that we could immediately start placing these children in family daycares. So that happened literally overnight. And then by Wednesday, we started seeing businesses closing, and so then we saw the decrease in family child care enrollment. So then there was pulling those other children that were still displaced and basically, handpicking children and putting them in family daycares is what we've been spending a lot of our time doing and educating the public. There's another level to this, child care options now, which literally changed overnight as well. Community care licensing is very strict in what their guidelines are for doing care, operating a family daycare license out of your home. And we literally saw those guidelines and restrictions change overnight. And what I mean by that is the state started offering waivers for what's called pop-up childcare and co-op childcare. And pop-up childcare looks a little different. So a business, and I'll just use the Open Door Clinic as an example. So maybe Hilda Contreras might want to offer a pop-up childcare in her clinic. So what that means is she would apply for a waiver, and she would, first of all, she would have to have a facility. So maybe she wants to redesign a room for her staff to bring their children, and you're basically offering a safe environment for those children. It might not be ideal, but the children are safe and they're with their families. So they would apply for a waiver. They would the pop-up childcare has to be staffed by the employee of the entity where the children will be. So Hilda's staff would be facilitating the child care, and children of her staff would be the children enrolled. So that's one opportunity for businesses who want to keep their families working, is to, and because their children aren't at school, this is one way of keeping children safe and with the parent. And then there's the co-op child care, which is two families who work opposite schedules. So you might have a mother who works Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you might have a father who works Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And so those two working families, swap out and offer childcare for each other. That's co-op childcare. All of these opportunities, all of these circumstances still require the state's knowledge. And so we have those forms and we have those waivers to assist businesses and families offer this untraditional type of care. So we're still keeping children safe is still of the utmost importance. And so we are asking families that are interested in this and businesses that are interested in this type of care to please contact me and let me help you assist you with that process.
Wow, that's interesting. It's kind of a mechanism for ad hoc, as needed sort of childcare in basically in a situation like this then, right?
It really is truly unique. And it's actually going back to the day where parents, most parents did co-op childcare. It was very, very common in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And it was very common, and you saw a lot of families doing this. Now, we're kind of, because of what's happening, with COVID-19, we are having to go back and explore these opportunities, and the state acted very quickly. And like I said, overnight, this transition of childcare developed. We are still asking parents that their first choice be licensed care, because that really is what's best for the children because of, all of the guidelines and regulations and restrictions that surround that process. Mm-hmm. But yes, this is something that we've seen overnight, and so far, we do not know of anybody that is offering pop-up care right now. I'm in the process of working with the Office of Emergency Services, preparing for the out-of-town children that may be coming to our community. we're going to be using Little School of the Redwoods. It is our Del Norte Child Care Council's preschool that we did close, following the governor's recommendations. But that facility is right behind the college, and it's right next to North Coast Children's Services. And we're able to, I was able to apply for that waiver for pop-up care, and we're going to be using that facility to offer child care for our first responders and medical or healthcare professionals from out of the county. So the school district is offering that type of child care for our first responders, but it's only going to be for children who are already enrolled in the school district, because, the safety of our children is what's really, truly important. We don't know, not to, to add a flame to the fear fire, not to add, air to that fire of fear, but we don't know, with these children coming to our community of first responders, we don't know what they've been exposed to. And so keeping their safety in mind really is of the utmost importance. And so that's why we are offering up our facility to offer pop-up child care for out of the area first responders.
So how close to capacity are the family daycare providers?
So we have 8 and we have 14. A small daycare is 8. The state is waiving that capacity right now and allowing small daycares to have 10 capacity. And then because that's staying with the 10-to-1 adult-child ratio, that has, that switched overnight. And then for large daycares that are 14-to-1, that did not change.
Okay.
You had asked me, Paul, earlier what the Child Care Council was doing in response to what's happening. All of our staff is working remotely, and we actually have designated staff members that are working specific for parents that we're still enrolling parents for our subsidy programs to help pay for their child care. We have staff designated specifically for parents who are looking for child care, and she is communicating, and that's Sarah Knoll, she is communicating on a daily basis with our family child care providers, finding out if there are empty slots. So we encourage families to call those phone numbers to get that information that is changing daily. So right now there are a half a dozen slots in family child care.
Okay, and what are the phone numbers if folks want to find out more?
For parents who are looking for subsidy care who are still wanting to enroll, we have families that were on the waiting list that we're still enrolling. That person is Tracy McCracken, and her phone number is 707-218-1296. For family child care homes, what's amazing is there are people who are wanting to start up a family daycare business through all of this, which is pretty amazing. So for family daycare homes and referrals for family daycare homes, that is Sarah at 707-951-8604. And then if you are trying to reach our fiscal office for anything under accounts payable, you can call Joy at 707-954-7754. And then all other questions or inquiries regarding services that the Child Care Council offers, specializing in pop-up and co-op child care, please call myself, Melody, at 707-951-2813. So all of us are still very much connected to our families and to the community, and we have not, although our services look a little different, we are still serving our community remotely.
And now a press release from the Humboldt Area Foundation and Wild Rivers Community Foundation. Humboldt Area Foundation and its affiliate, the Wild Rivers Community Foundation, have launched the COVID-19 Regional Response Fund to address the immediate and emerging needs of our region's most vulnerable residents, from mitigation to eventual recovery from the coronavirus pandemic. Quote, "Our number one priority is to the region we serve and the amazing people who get to call this place home," said WRCF Director Gina Zatola. Quote, "Our communities have a history of resiliency, and now more than ever, as a foundation, we must garner all of our resources and tools to assist our residents." HAF and WRCF, with the support of foundation partners the California Endowment and the California Wellness Foundation, committed $150,000 to seed the fund, which launched last Friday. The organizations invite civic groups, individuals, and community partners to join this regional effort. Grants from the fund will be made on a rolling basis to nonprofits, other charitable organizations, and Native Indigenous organizations in Trinity, Humboldt, Del Norte, and Curry County. The fund's initial focus will be on seniors, low-wage families, tribal communities, and the nonprofits serving those populations. HAF and WRCF are not able to make grants from this fund to individuals or small businesses at this time. The process for making grants from the fund is being developed and will be available and shared soon. For more information about the fund, visit www.wrcf.org or call 707-465-1238.
KFUG Community News spoke today with Amanda Hickson, Food Program Director of the Del Norte and Tribal Lands Community Food Council, about how the Pacific Pantry is faring during the pandemic.
This week, we are doing a 2-hour distribution Tuesday through Saturday. So Tuesday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m., and then Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then, so it's a little different than our normal hours. Our normal hours are generally Thursday and Friday from 2 to 6 p.m., and then Saturdays from 10 to 2 p.m. So our normal distributions are shortened by a couple hours, but we've put a couple extra distributions in there. As of now, we are not signing people in so that they can only come once a month. That is going to continue for this week's distribution. But for next distribution, which is next week, which will be April, the new month, everyone should expect that we're going to be going back to a once-a-month use of the pantry and signing people and using our software at that time.
And you're supplying like prepackaged grocery bags, right?
Yes. Normally we're a choice pantry where people come in and shop for themselves and choose what they would like based on household size. But with the COVID-19 social distancing and stay at home and try not to be around anybody mandates, we are handing out pre-packed bags at this time. And we probably, there's still a lot of questions of what things are going to look like, how we're going to change the operations that we're doing. We don't have that hammered out yet, but at least for this week, we will be just handing out pre-packed bags. And what that looks like next week, I don't know exactly at this time.
On a more meta level, as far as forecasting the future, what like you're not sure what the food distribution will look like next week, but can you give us an idea? Like how's the pantry doing? What are your supply chains like? Do you have food for the foreseeable future? Are there insecurities around the corner for you?
We just today we got a couple of van loads of food from Rural Human Services. So Rural Human Services is our county food bank. We recently established a relationship with them where they're sharing and stocking, helping to stock Pacific Pantry with TFAP, Emergency Food Assistance Program, and trade tariff mitigation foods, so various commodities. So that is a new relationship for us and also very appreciated. From what I hear talking with Don at RHS, the food supply coming from the state, from social services and the state, is doing great. And when we need more food, we just tell them and they'll get more food up to us. So that's a relief for us. As far as food that we were able to supply apart from the commodities food that we're getting from RHS, the food system and the food chain has shifted quite a bit. We were modeled after previous directors before myself. The pantry managers would go to the grocery store, one of our local grocery stores, and buy food off of the shelf and stock the pantry with that. We are not being able to follow that model at this time. I'm sure everybody knows, one, a lot of things are not on the shelves at the store, and two, people are asked to limit their purchases by one or two of each item. So we definitely can't be going in and buying 40 of something off of the stores or the shelves in the grocery store. So we are looking at other options. I'm setting up other relationships where we're getting things directly from distributors, whereas before we were getting it from the grocery store. We do continue to support our local farmers, our local producers as much as possible. We're also seeing just shifts in our food recovery. We've been recovering a lot of Alexander Dairy milk from our food recovery program and handing that out to the pantry. Alexander Dairy, their sales of milk are going up a lot, and so they this last week didn't have milk for us to recover, which is fantastic. We're ecstatic for them. That's definitely where we want to see them, but it just shifts what we have available in the pantry to give to people.
This relationship you spoke of, the new relationship with RHS, is this like an ad hoc dealing with this emergency relationship, or is this something that will continue once even beyond this month and beyond the pandemic?
Yes, it is actually a relationship that was established before anyone ever knew what COVID-19 or coronavirus was. So it's an agreement that we have with them through the Department of Social Services that we will be a distributor of the TFAP and trade tariff mitigation foods. So that relationship will continue beyond this current pandemic and current crisis. That will continue to be a relationship that we have, and it does help in a big way. It helps offset the cost of having food stocked in the pantry. And it's also a new relationship, so exactly how it's going to offset our costs and what we'll have available and those sorts of things are also changing, and it hasn't existed for very long. So we will see how it evolves into the future.
And are you meeting? I know. Are there workforce hours needs? Do you have volunteers that you need over? I know the Family Resource Center, the Redwoods, is closed, right? The pantry is closed. You're just handing out these bags, correct? Are you able to meet?
Yes, the Family Resource Center is closed. The pantry, especially with having all the bags packed and bulk items repackaged and food coming in and food going out, it is. We also have our food recovery program. We've been getting produce in from Senior Center and from the Del Norte Unified School District, and we are some food that comes in needs to be lightly processed. Like we got a bunch of mushrooms and we got some squash, and we needed to cook that and freeze it so it didn't go bad. So there's definitely things to do, and most of my staff has been out sick, and so we've been operating with a pretty skeleton crew as far as staff goes, and but we have had some amazing volunteers coming on board, and we're set for this week with volunteers. There's also convening groups, different stakeholders and different organizations that work around food security and food distribution. And there's discussion happening about trying to set up a network of food delivery to households that are vulnerable, that shouldn't be leaving their houses. So if we are able to get something like that up and running, then that will definitely take a lot more volunteers at that time.
And you're also delivering food to Klamath, correct?
We do a once-a-month produce distribution in Klamath through a partnership that we have with Food for People, the food bank in Humboldt County. They bring up the produce. It's the third Thursday of the month. They bring up the produce, and then my staff and volunteers distribute the produce. And that's also something that was established before the coronavirus pandemic began. So we're also doing that once a month down in Klamath.
How can folks support the pantry now?
We are always, we've been getting donations, people just mailing donations, which is amazing, and we're ecstatic about that. So we can always use monetary donations that we can make sure get spent where our biggest needs are. And then if people can keep their eyes and ears open for volunteer opportunities as well. We are set for this, but we will continue to have needs for volunteers coming in and helping pack bags and do distribution. And especially if we start delivering food to different households, then we're going to have a big need for volunteers. So if people that are available can keep their eyes and ears open to sign up for shifts as they come available, that would be a huge help.
And they can find that information on the Donatal food page, right? The Donatal website, and then the Pacific Pantry page?
Yes.
All
so
right.
both of the Facebook pages for Donatal Community Food Council and the Facebook page for Pacific Pantry, and then our website as well, donatalfood.com.
That website again is dnatlfood.com/Pacific-Pantry. Did you go to church on Facebook last Sunday? In the face of the pandemic, many local churches are using the internet to both worship God and maintain social distancing. KFUG Community News reached out to Pastor Dana Gilport of the United Methodist Church in Crescent City to get her take on holding services and working with the homeless community in the shadow of COVID-19.
You know, we're doing pretty well, actually. We, like you said, we did switch over to live stream pretty quickly. It was a tough call to make, but especially the majority of my congregation it's a high-risk population, so I just couldn't, in good faith, put all of them at risk, which has been challenging for a lot of them to do live stream because it's not necessarily intuitive for that age bracket, you know, or at least not all of them. But they've been so wonderful and, like, so willing to work with it, you know. And so we've actually had an increase in viewership of new viewers from our live stream. So there's been a positive in all of it. And then, you know, I just kind of had to readjust my work schedule, what it looks like to pastor remotely. So that means that I'm making daily phone calls to people, just going through my directory, checking in on people. We've got grocery store delivery that no one has actually utilized yet, but we're telling people, like, especially if you're at high risk, don't worry about going grocery shopping. Let some of the younger, healthier congregants. We've got a team of people who are willing to do grocery store runs for people. So it's been really beautiful to see the community coming together in that way. And then just this week we started putting people, or offering, I guess I should say, into digital small groups that meet via Zoom and just kind of socialize and continue to grow in our relationship with Christ in that way. And it's been really amazing. I've never had so many people involved in a small group before.
Fantastic. What about what about the homeless work? What about the committees that you had gotten together over the last couple of months with True North? First off, just a functional thing. Are showers not happening at St. Paul's now?
No. So that we're working on getting showers for the homeless up and running because it is such a priority for our homeless community to stay safe and healthy, and showers are a big part of that. And with the pool closing down, they now have nowhere to shower. And I would love for our shower ministry to stay in action, but all of our volunteers, I'm going through the list of volunteers, and I'm pretty sure with 100% across the board, all of our volunteers are over the age of 60 and at risk. So we kind of had to put that on hold. But I'm working with True North to try and get some volunteers that Daphne from Mission Possible has gathered so that we can get showers up and running somewhere. I don't know where yet. But that was because not only the volunteer aspect, but the Episcopal Church's diocese, much like my bishop with our church, told us to shut down all of our ministries because, it's the governor's orders.
What's that do for you? Is that frustrating?
It is, because yes, we have a lot of people at risk, but the homeless people aren't necessarily considered our congregants, right? But they're still people that we minister to and part of God's kingdom. So not being able to continue to do the ministries that we, or at least I feel so called to do, even in the midst of all of this pandemic chaos, they need that safety and security too, because I'm sure they're having a lot of insecurities and anxieties around all of this, being so at risk as a homeless person.
Let's face it, you've likely been seeing news exclusively related to COVID-19 and little else, and while, yes, it is very important to keep up to date on all the happenings of this pandemic, it can be easily overwhelming, and it seems like it's the only thing happening in the world. So to cap this newscast off, we have accrued a quick list of various other news that has been going on all over the world, while all news has surrounded COVID-19. This will be a bullet point list, as this would otherwise be an incredibly lengthy newscast, but it's nice to know there's more than a pandemic. Australia is no longer on fire, and according to Smithsonian Magazine, burnt trees are growing emergency foliage and the ecosystem is attempting to recover. In the midst of colleges closing due to COVID-19 fears, U-Haul has stepped up and is offering free 30-day storage for displaced college students and discounted moving services. You can read more about this from their press release on their website. In big medical news, the second person in the world was just cured of HIV. Potawatomi Zoo in South Bend, Indiana, just announced the birth of 2 Chicoan pecaries, which are an endangered species in South America. They are pig-like and adorable, but are not actually pigs. They are still adorable, and I recommend Googling pictures of them to help in these trying times. Virginia has banned conversion therapy for LGBTQ+ minors and is the first southern state to do so. The world's first 3D printed houses have just been created in rural Tabasco, Mexico. It is the hopes of the creators that this will help with homelessness. These homes are designed to withstand seismic activity and have 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. A community of 50 3D printed homes is currently under construction. The International Olympic Committee has made it a goal to become climate positive by 2030 and by next year have plans to start planning an Olympic forest in Africa to combat desertification. The last patient with Ebola in the Democratic Republic of the Congo was just released from treatment and is in full health. Reporters Without Borders have opened an enormous uncensored library in, of all places, the popular video game Minecraft. As many countries ban books and articles, Minecraft is still typically accessible, so Reporters Without Borders have made these banned books and articles readable through Minecraft. A link to the server can be found online. An Australian teenager found out how to make biodegradable plastic wrap out of shrimp shells. It completely biodegrades in a little over 30 days compared to plastic, which can take roughly 1,000 years. The shells were taken from shrimp that had already been fished and cooked. And at least 55 new blue whales have been spotted in the waters near the Antarctic recently, which is incredible due to how close to extinction they've been. There's a good chance the species, including other whales, is in recovery mode, according to the British Antarctic Survey. And many more things have been gracing our world. So please remember, yes, this pandemic is a pretty big ordeal, and it's good that we've been giving it our attention and have been making great efforts to follow all medical advice, such as social distancing, washing hands more frequently than we have been in the past, and all manners to stop the spread of this disease. But there's far more to the world than COVID-19. Please be sure to remember that during these confusing times. Yes, take care of yourself physically and make sure you're not spreading the disease to yourself or others, but your mental health is incredibly crucial too. Thanks again for tuning into News Now. To hear more episodes, check out our website, kfugradio.org, or our YouTube channel. Special thanks to Wild Rivers Outpost and Jessica Sanar, Crescent City Bureau Chief, for providing great content. Tune in 2 weeks from now to KFUG Community Radio 101.1 FM and streaming online at kfugradio.org to hear more from your favorite local radio station.